Hi, my name is Venessa, and I'm a medic here at Oceti Sakowin main medic tent. Last night at the action, there were a lot of traumatic injuries that had to be transported to the hospital. Our guess right now is anywhere from 20 to 30. Some of them were very severe. There were a lot of head traumas and body traumas from the rubber bullets. It looked like the police were actually trying to target heads and lower body. We had an awful lot of leg injuries and arm injuries. There were a lot of people who had to be transported. We are still today seeing residual effects from contusions to that are pretty severe, to a lot of respiratory and a lot of ear problems from the flashbangs and concussion grenades that were going off. We treated, I know, multiple cases of hypothermia. We lost count of how many people we actually treated for hypothermia. It was rampant. We did have a gentleman that had a cardiac episode twice, and I treated him. We had one seizure, and I was on scene for that. It was very traumatic. We had a mass casualty incident, which even the Standing Rock and some of the Bismarck EMS that were here, that were phenomenal and stood by us and helped, they said that they had never seen anything like this, and they did not realize that this was what it was like when Morton County unleashed on us. So they were not aware of the injuries that were happening. They were just seeing the few, but last night by far was, I'm pretty sure, the worst it had been, and we transported more patients than we ever had.
There's one thing you would like Morton County to know. What would that be?
Stop being stupid. There's no sense in what you're doing. Peaceful, prayerful people, even if they're yelling and screaming, they're not shooting, they're not hurting you, they're there protecting the water. Just stop. What you're doing is beyond wrong. You're violating civil rights, you're violating international laws. You've lost control, and your officers have lost control of themselves. You need to stop now before you kill someone. A young girl most likely has lost her arm because of you. You have changed life forever. You caused many traumatic injuries last night to people's heads. There are so many things that you're doing that are wrong. I pray for you. I pray that you get a soul, because right now you don't have one, and you are hurting real people, with families, with friends, with loved ones. You need to stop, and stop now.
So you were sharing with me about how long have you been doing this?
I've been in EMS 30 years.
And share with me a little bit about what you think about how bad this was.
In 30 years' time, I have seen all kind of serious trauma. I've seen gunshots to the face, to the chest. I've seen people's hands degloved. I've seen disembowelments. I've seen things. I've worked mass casualties where there are multiple victims in a car accident who are traumatically and seriously injured, and some death from them. But I've never seen anything like this. The amount of people and the casual attitude that the police had toward it. They would just be standing very calmly, and then all of a sudden pull out their gun and just bat, 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 bat. And then there was no rhyme or reason to it. Then they would just be standing there and crank up the cannon, the water cannon, and just start spraying everybody as crystals and ice formed on people. They would spray them full on in the face. By far, it's the most tragic and terrifying and unnecessary thing I've ever seen, and by far the worst mass casualty incident I've ever been a part of. It was devastating to me and to the doctors and to everyone involved because of the senseless violence of it all. There was no sense, and it was horrible. It caused many of us, a 30-year veteran of EMS that's seen it a lot, seen a whole lot of stuff, to see that happen, it wasn't right. And they were specifically targeting heads and lower extremities. There are people who are spitting up blood because they took one in the gut, multiple contusions, big, huge bruises that could possibly turn into compartment syndrome if it's not already compartment syndrome, broken bones, mutilated arms. There was a code. Somebody, actually, an elder, had a cardiac event and a seizure from what they were inhaling. All day long I've been treating people who are still having residual effects from coughs and headaches and ringing ears. It's just terrifying. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot.